Oh, well, okay. So I've been trying to answer the question, what do I do? And that's kind of easy answer. The long kind of answer is, well, let's put it this way. I think architecture is in trouble at the moment. How many of, okay, just get a show of hands, how many of you are actually architects or studied architecture? All right, great. So you're not my audience, so that's an exit over there. No, you are actually today my exact audience, but generally, our audience are not architects. So have you tried to explain to the public what is architecture? It's actually very hard. And I haven't taught for many years. I know usually about halfway through the third year of architecture school, maybe that's when some of them trying to get it, and fourth year, final year, some just never get it. But yeah, I think we're a bit of trouble. So a little bit about ourselves. I'm one half of Archimarathon. The other half is Andrew, and Andrew runs Austin Manor Architects. So that's his full-time gig. I'm the guy, like Pet Shop Boys, I'm like the guy who don't sing, but I'm doing all the work and behind the scenes. And he's award-winning architect around the world. The Zine, Studio of the Year a few times in the world. Recently, the Arcello Awards. I don't know, he's just got lots of Building of the Years, WAV, World Architecture Festivals, yada, 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 a lot of award-winning stuff. So he's not here, so let's not talk about him. So the purpose of what we're trying to do, it's basically a hobby that got out of hand. And as being an educator and used to practice, I believe that we need to educate the public about architecture. And the best way to do is to learn to understand and see architecture and then see to learn architecture. So some of the things we used to do, is the heart of it are the tours. We make videos, and also there's a studio space, which I'll explain to you in due course. Okay, so especially the ones who did not study architecture, thanks. But just name 3 famous authors in the last 100 years. Usually, if you go on the street and ask people, they would be able to name some, yeah? There'd be a whole bunch of them. Hemingway, Orwell, it's kind of easy. If you name 3 famous painters in the last 100 years, again, very, very easy, or relatively easy, Picasso, Warhol, Pollock, Monet, they're all famous household names. Famous fashion designers, easy. Famous architects, I think most people would not be able to answer. And if they know, if they know a little bit of architecture, they'll probably say Frank Lloyd Wright, Frank Gehry, Gaudi, and maybe Zaha did. And that's the ones who know about architecture, who didn't study architecture. And of course, if you ask architects, what are important architects, we have a whole bunch of names which people have never heard of. That's the state of architecture at the moment. We are in such a closed ecosystem that we need to reach out because, we're very bad communicators. Even though everything we do as architects is communication. Even design itself is a form of communication. The very act of drawing, to draw means to bring out. And that is a form of communication to yourself, to others, and you can critique and move on and build on the design. And of course, everything else, dealing with clients, dealing with builders, writing contracts, writing letters, emails, everything is communication. And that's what we're generally not too good at. We get too focused on design and all the other skills that is communication, that's not taught. And we hide in archi-speak, this weird little language that we use. So some of the videos we made this a few years ago, and this was a student guide on deconstruction. So I'm that generation that deconstruction in the 90s was the thing. And very interesting, because Derrida is one of the people you're meant to read. So this paragraph, it says, "It is clear that Derrida and his interpreters actually intend it to be difficult. It means to make us feel inadequate on the grounds that it will make them seem cleverer than we. It doesn't, of course. There's nothing easier for specialists in any field than to blind those outside with the complexities of the subject. But as we shall see, it's fundamental to Derrida's extraordinary view of the world." So in other words, we are very much shooting ourselves in the foot as a profession. We are making it so esoteric and away from the public's appreciation. The traditional role of the architect as the sort of head of all these people is gone in most countries. Denmark may be a little bit better. Bjerg Engels, he's not here. Brian's not here? He's gone. At least their government appreciate what architects do. Unfortunately, most countries, we, as a profession, we've gone to just dressing up buildings, if you're lucky. And so we need to be better communicators in architecture. And if you look at many other professions with really complex ideas, such as science, really complex quantum science and stuff like that, they got science communicators, professional communicators. You've got Neil deGrasse Tyson, you've got the science guy, you've got Professor Brian Cox, who are out there doing TV shows and programs that actually talks to the world about complex ideas, like rocket science, like really complex stuff. More than architecture, way more complicated, but they make it accessible. You look at, let's skip that. If you look at philosophy, you've got Alain de Botton, who again makes it accessible. He didn't dumb it down, he just makes it simpler so that it's actually a gateway for people if they want to look more into architecture, in philosophy, they can. So we need that. So this was what I was really hoping to see in India, in New Delhi. This was the Hall of Nations, which was built in 25 years of independence, and it's amazing. Specifically Indian, sort of forward-thinking, progressive. This is all done in concrete. It's amazing. The biggest concrete space frame in the world. It's still there? No. Look, just stunning. It's just so confident. When architects had convictions and also the governments understood their convictions, they actually went for it. It doesn't happen anymore for some reason. This was amazing space, and that was demolished in 2017, as I understood. And in replace of that, this, which could be anything in the world somewhere apart from, this is a decoration, there's some screens, so it's Indian now. That's kind of the state of architecture, unfortunately. We are so stuck in archi-porn. I'm in social media too, so it's very much this feed the beast. We are now making more about images and social media. We've got coffee table books. We're living in these sort of single images, unfortunately, and people are judging and gauging architecture through graphics alone. I came from Hong Kong, and that's the kind of stuff that I grew up with, like just kind of crappy buildings, but the only way to make it interesting is color. Bit on theme today. But yeah, and there is no heritage in Hong Kong. It's terrible. We've done heritage really badly. This is central, and historically, that's what it used to look like. I did not know that. I've never seen and grew up in such an environment. In India, you do have that colonial past, of course, even further, which is much longer, much better stuff. We don't have anything, nothing at all. And that leads to, when I started architecture school, I believed in heritage. I wanted to do a heritage architecture because I thought that's what is architecture. Like, isn't that what most people do when they travel? They just go and see these sites, hordes of people, different cultures, hordes of people going to see these historical sites. They're beautiful, they are beautiful, but there's only so much you can kind of learn from them. Yeah, and I think probably the same theme in India as well. There's a lot of great historical work, but they sort of fall within a pattern. Like, for example, you go to one church in Tuscany, it's like you've been to all churches. In some ways, the decorations are different, the history is slightly different, but as a type, as an answer to a solution, is only one. That's why when I started architecture school the first year, I went with my lecturer who took us all around Europe. And I've learned there's a whole world of architecture that most people outside of architecture don't know about. That is contemporary or 20th century. We had a 3-hour lecture on Ronchamp in the first few weeks, and everyone stayed. It was amazing. But most people don't know this. Or why, I don't know why, but it's great. So, and if you're looking at contemporary work, there's a lot of amazing different way of solving problems that you can learn from them compared to a typology that is just repeats. So Andrew started coming along with my tours. So food analogy, that's important as well. So that's one of the ways I explain architecture. So we have same access. It's just like cooking. That's actually one of the best way I find, personally, the best way to explain architecture to people. It's like food, okay? It's like cooking. We can all get access to the same ingredients: concrete, steel, glass, brick, carpet, yeah? And just like ingredients and spices, you can get access to that. Just because it's more expensive material, just because it's difficult to make, doesn't mean the dish is better. But then there are meals that are so simple, it's put together, and you go, I will remember this for the rest of my life, and you do. That, to me, is sort of architecture. It's not just, it's more than some of its parts. It's not just, most people can make things edible. You can throw together, okay, I can eat it. The whole conversation is about sustainability, which is all important, but that's also very much like food. Talk about food miles and, where you source it from. That's all great conversation. That's all important. But what is that on top of it that makes food enjoyable? What is it that is far more than just edible and nutrient and sustainable? And so, yeah, I used to run an architecture forum back in the day. That's been hacked, so it's all gone. But one of the questions, as an architect, do you enjoy cooking? And most of the people said yes. So I think there's a process about the making of architecture, because architecture is control freefall. It's like, if you've seen any sort of cooking shows, like nothing ever goes to exactly planned. And that's architecture, right? You have come up with an idea. When you cook it, you need to respond to it. It's not like baking where you kind of have the precise thing and you shove it in and it comes out, it'll be perfect how you want it. You always have to respond. That's architecture. And so we get pictures like these, which is food photography, and we know it looks like this in real life. And there are many buildings like that. You've seen the pretty pictures on Instagram or whatever, you go and see it and go, oh, okay, that's not what I expected, it's okay. But the reverse is also true. The good ones are the other way around. And because it's just impossible to take a good photo of it. So you've got to be critical about it. So one of the good ways is to go traveling. That's what I do. I've done that a lot myself. I just used to travel, but Andrew started to gate crash my travels, and he called it an Archimarathon because usually my tours are very short. And trying to see as much as possible because I've got no time. And he called it an Archimarathon while weeping in a blizzard in Sweden. Just like chefs, you got to go and eat. It's not just head down. And in practice, you're just working, you don't have time to go and experience and, the love of food. That's, I guess, why chefs get into cooking, right? Just got to go and eat. You got to go and build your repertoire. If you only have experienced fast food in your whole life, you need to go and experience other things because that you need to expand that repertoire. So 2018, I started running tours officially under my own name, Archimarathon, and so domestically in Sydney and Brisbane, and then Spain, China, and then Andrew started coming along. So we've got some. This is interstate, Finland. Finland again, Spain and Portugal last year, 2 years ago. We even have a Spaniard coming along in my own tours. That was great. And usually a pretty big mix of people. So it's called a marathon because like 15 days, we're in center of Spain, south, and then we go to the west, Extremadura region, we go to south of Portugal, north of Portugal, go across to Barcelona in the east, and then north, and then back to Madrid. That's 15 days. That's why it's called an Archimarathon. And Japan, again, lots of people. In fact, this is getting so diverse now. We have people from UAE, we have London, we have got a guy from the United States. We've got heads of practices in the largest oceanic practices. We've got a guy who's a show jumper, horse riding show jumper from Florida. So it's actually quite an amazing, diverse group that we're actually getting through because of the social media presence that we have. And yeah, I'm just not going to go through it. Yeah, it's just we go see a lot of stuff. And that's kind of like, this is day 2. It's not as freaky as it looks, because if anyone who's been to Tokyo, you go to Omotesando, they're like, yep, 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 yep. So that ticks off a lot of things. And usually they're just outside. You can't really see much on the inside. And then I get pretty fanatic in terms of having sunrise and sunset times, just knowing exactly when you arrive, so you know, okay, if I want to get the best light, I want to arrive at that time, so I kind of program things that way. Of course, train connections, all that stuff. That's what I do. So yeah, lots of traveling, a lot of tours, and we make videos during the tour. That's kind of how we started. Like Andrew and I would go, okay, how can we like get paid to travel and see good stuff? I'm going to go through Japan because time's good. Yeah, so a lot of public transport. So that's what we do. We believe in engaging the city through public transport. I haven't really done the public transport properly in India yet, in Delhi. I did go to Chandigarh by train, so I got a bit of that, but not yet. I need to catch the subway and tuk-tuks. Haven't tried that yet. But yeah, again, lots of trains, lot of public transport, and lots of buildings, and seminal buildings like, this is Kushino House by Tadao Ando. Disappointing. And usually that's a draw card, like people like Tadao Ando or Alvar Aalto, that's why people go to a country. But oftentimes they find, the participants find that the work that drew them there, it's not actually the best stuff. Sometimes it's actually always not even the architects, it's the local architects that's doing really interesting work that people don't know about. And I'm seeing that in India. Like, we're so stuck with star architects at the moment. They are the big names, of course, that's the majority. But we have majority of the profession that is struggling with kind of work that they get, not in terms of size and scale, but just getting that kind of acknowledgement. So the brand of the big star architect versus actual people on the ground dealing with complex problems and things, and lower budget. That's the good stuff usually. Carpentry Museum. I'm just going to flick through. It's a slideshow as well. Yeah, stuff people don't usually know much about. Some beautiful stuff in Japan. Very local, especially local examples. Food and drinks, very important part of the culture, and explaining and experiencing how different cities and the specific things. This is takoyaki, so that's very specifically Osaka. And then we had Denmark, Norway, Sweden, and Finland. Again, just a big list of stuff we went to see. Bjergengels. More Bjergengels that was presented yesterday by Brian. There you go, that's us. Whee! And the office, actually their best work there. The office is actually the best I have seen of their work. Kolb. Norway. Anyway, it's just pretty pictures. I'm going to flick through them because I've got other things to talk about. And food, of course. And cities. And seminal work, historically. This is Asplund's Woodland Chapel. Sigurd Leverance. Beautiful dark church in brick. Not a single brick is cut. Catching ferries, to understand archipelagos. That is part of the Scandinavian landscape between Finland and Sweden. And Finland, of course, lots of lesser-known work. Good developer guy there. We've got very, very diverse group. And sauna, jumping in the lake, having a sauna. Sauna, that's how it's pronounced. And a summer cottage, actually, that's our family summer cottage. So that's just experience. This is what most Finns experience, but a tourist don't get to access that. More Finnish architecture. All right, anyway, that's the tour part. Oh yeah, so this is, we did Guangzhou, Shenzhen, Macau, and Hong Kong end of last year, and the work is amazing. The smaller work, all the local work. Because Shenzhen is known as this kind of big, crazy, high-rises everywhere, but no, all the best stuff are tiny little projects that's been built in the last 5 years, and I'm sure that's actually happening in India as well. There's a lot of local architects doing really interesting work, which I'm yet to find out. So do tell me if you know them. Germany will be going to this year, Netherlands and Germany. Amazing work. This is the original time that, in 2010, that Andrew coined the term. He's an idiot. That's okay. So the videos, okay, this is the important part, right? So we started making videos in 2020. There was a strange little thing that happened in 2020 that's, I don't know, we said that we'll go and make content around the world. That kind of didn't happen. I don't know why. This is a strange little thing called COVID. And we started making videos on YouTube. And we have a policy. We want to talk about architecture in a positive light. It's so easy to attack negative, like to say negative things about work. We are very good at critiquing and just cutting down work. And I can, but it's no fun. It's actually better off if we talk as a profession, we talk about what is great and explain to people why something is worthwhile than slagging it off. So yeah, we go and see work. Sometimes we started with a bit of Andrew's houses, and then we go and see. We're invited to Taliesin, Frank Lloyd Wright's house. We made a video for them. Stayed in Frank's house. It was great. So yeah, Andrew's work. Finnish embassy in Australia, Taliesin, Schindler House, amongst other things. So it's all on YouTube. So we make these kind of long-form content. Headmark, that's the latest one that dropped a few weeks ago. And also sort of political message, because they demolished this beautiful award-winning shed, really, in Canberra. And they're spending $500 million. So that's $500 million to rebuild that. I don't know what is in, I think it's 9 billion. I think I looked it up, Indian rupees. And why? Like, that could have been spent on housing. I don't know why they did that. But so it's a little bit of a protest video. And most importantly, for those students in the crowd here, like, we started making this because we couldn't go travel, so we have to talk about anything. How to get the most out of architecture school. Because I've seen colleagues teaching, they've been trying to change universities. You can't. They are their own beasts at the moment. There's a problem with education. It's just a much bigger problem, a much bigger machine that we really can't do much about. So we thought we're better off trying to change the mindset of students so they get the most out of the amazing people who teach at university. Unfortunately, they are weighted down by the education machine. And critical thinking, which is super important. How to understand and analyze work, how to critique work in a systematic way. Understanding party diagrams, how to survive critique, so body language, understanding the psychology of different people. This is not just in architecture, this is in general communication and psychology. And time. It's all about time. As a profession, we charge basically by time. And that's always the bit that we complain most about, that we are working long hours, we're not getting paid enough. Unfortunately, we squander time pretty badly as a profession. So it's about learning to spend time in the most productive way, using the right tools and the right kind of time for the effects that we need to get to. So that goes back to critical thinking. Thinking about scale. Students don't understand scale anymore. They all just do everything on computer, have no idea about scale. And yes, a whole bunch of videos we make, usually with sort of education in mind. And with that, 2022, we started a studio. So Andrew's got his office on one half of this floor, and the other half was for rent. So we started up Archimarathon Studios. So the idea is putting what we talk about in practice. So we've got, this is not the studio. This is somewhere in the United States where there is a culture of a studio space where students actually spend their time. This is gone now in Australia. There are no studios left. So students go to uni, they go home, and they come back and get a critique, and that's all they do. So the very act of the soft skills of human communication, working in a team, that is gone. So we're trying to teach that, like, because everyone's going to get a piece of paper at the end. Like, it's very hard to fail people. You'll get through a course, but what are the soft skills required? Everyone's got a piece of paper, so then what? What are you going to do? So that's what we're trying to teach. So it's adjacent to Australian Architects. We run a studio space, teaching students to work collaboratively. I'm not sure what India's like. You probably do have studios, but in Australia, it's gone, nothing. So students learning to work together. We've got this amazing projector wall, which is also a whiteboard, which is also magnetic, so people can draw directly on and iterate very quickly. And helping each other, which is unheard of at architecture universities in Australia nowadays. And for different students from different universities, different year levels, and doing different courses, interior and architecture, helping each other. And also professional talk, so the Australian architects would often have an in-house kind of presentation or client meetings and stuff like that, and students get to sit in and see what's actually happening. So trying to bridge between profession and education. And also social events and drinks and stuff, bringing in professionals, hanging out. So we started with YouTube. It's actually more than that now, since last week. And TikTok, the comments are usually dumber, so India banning that is a great idea. Instagram, it's our biggest. Again, we've got a bigger number now, but yeah, that's the majority of our conversation that happens, and I guess maybe that's how you find out about us. And because Facebook is linked to Instagram, that's linked as well. And recently we started Red Note, the Chinese app, so that's 5 now anyway. And yeah, making short-term, this is the stuff that I make a lot of. In fact, I'd already made 2 reels for India just the last few days. And it's really spreading to the world. Like a lot of people are coming up and go, oh, I didn't think, because the short form stuff is great. YouTube, you have to click a button to go, oh, I want to watch that. Whereas this stuff, you just get served. You don't get a choice. You just get Kevin in your face. And yeah, people go, oh, I didn't think I liked about architecture, but like now I'm interested. So that's how we actually get a lot of people coming on the tours, but also just spreading the word of architecture and using very simple language that people can understand and appreciate. Oh well, we have amazing growth. That's what I was talking about. So yeah, so the hobby that got out of hand, we're now professionalizing, and we've got a general manager now, so we need to actually get actual sponsors to support what we do, because none of the stuff we do actually pays for itself. But now we're getting a lot of sponsors. We're going to be the face of Canada mass timber in September onwards, so that's a big win for us. But yeah, here's some QR codes if you're not following us already. Why not? And yeah, stay hydrated. Thank you.